Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, foreign investors in Ghana experienced average revenue loss of $75,000 in second quarter of the year as a result of COVID-19. Also coming up this afternoon, Trade Ministry's task force is in the Suame Magazine artisanal hub, closing down shops of foreign retailers without proper documentation. And receiver for some defunct financial institutions to begin payment of final round of locked-up funds. Thanks for being with us. My name is Darryl Kwao. Details right after this break. In our first story this afternoon, receiver for some defunct financial institutions will soon commence payment of locked-up funds of depositors. Bank of Ghana has moved to provide cover of about 1.7 billion cedi government bonds for these payments. Dr. Nes Addison is governor of the Bank of Ghana.
We had the reform in two phases. The first phase had to do with the banking system, where we revoked the licenses of 9 banks. All depositors were made whole. That was 100% coverage of every depositor in the banks. It's the depositors in the FDIs.
They've got their money.
And they got their money,
100%. They've had access to their money.
Everybody got access to their money. Regarding the banks, the 9 banks that had their license revoked. Now, the second phase has to do with the SDIs. These are the savings and loans, microfinance institutions, and finance houses. And in their case, depositors, individual depositors who have been fully paid, the data that we have suggests that more than 95% of depositors have been fully paid. So there are just about 5% of depositors who have large amounts. These are the high net worth individuals that were settled with bonds, which were to be retired over 5 years. So we think that most of it has been done. There were a few delays regarding depositors of GN Bank and First Allied. And in the last 3 weeks, that has also been cleared. The government has provided a bond worth 1.7 billion cedis, which we have monetized 700 million of. So the receiver is also working at clearing the last few people that are left in that segment. So I think we've made a lot of progress, Mr. President, in dealing with this depositor issue.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has pledged support to make Ghana's stock exchange a key player in West Africa. The president made the commitment when he paid a working visit to the Ghana Stock Exchange as part of a familiarization tour of some financial regulatory institutions. Ebenezer Sabute has more in this report.
According to President Akufo-Addo, the operation of the stock exchange is critical towards building a stronger economy. The visit was aimed at assessing the impact of the coronavirus on trading activities and ways that government can provide support. He also used the occasion to encourage managers of the bourse to work towards achieving its aim of being the regional trading hub for the West African sub-region.
Gone through some very harrowing times, not just us here in Ghana, but the entire world. And it's had a major impact on the economies of virtually all the nations of the world. So if indeed a stock exchange is one of the critical instruments for growing a country's economy and thereby growing the possibility of the people becoming more and more prosperous, I think it is important that those of us who have to make decisions affecting the economy have a clear idea of what is going on here. And that's the main reason why I came, to find out the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on your activities, where you are in terms of growing the exchange, and what obviously government on its part can do to assist the process of getting Ghana a really strong stock exchange.
Meanwhile, the president has also promised to build an ultra-modern office facility for the exchange if he retains power in the next election.
And to let you know that in me you have a friend, and in my government you have a friend. The finance minister has committed himself on the new building. So, and he is one of the founders of this place. I've been able to bring him back here. He hasn't been here for about 2 or 3 years. So today I've been able to bring him back. And he's leaving you with the promise that if the 4 more years for Nana materializes, he's going to take the lead in making sure you get new and fitting premises. So this is the So once again, thank you very much indeed.
Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Eko Afeji, in appreciating the president, described his visit as historic and believes the country will benefit from many initiatives undertaken by the capital market.
Well, so the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, was at that event where he said government is on course to get more companies listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange and make Ghana a regional financial services center. According to him, this will open up the country for bigger opportunities through investment.
There's a lot to do, but I think we've really set up the platform to be able to move forward, God willing, when the president is re-elected in December, where therefore the stability of the economy, what we have done in the international bond markets, it's now time to really unfurl ourselves to get companies listed, to be able to make sure the Regional Financial Services Center becomes real, that we demutualize so that there will be more capital to do what we want to do. And for you to know that, you know, between the SEC, Ministry of Finance, we've got your back and we're going to do everything we can for this to be the greatest market. And we are looking at a real economy, that's for sure. But you go to countries like Singapore and the financial services sector, you know, maybe about 60–70% of what they do as a country. So I know we can do that with precocious, excited, intelligent people like you. I'm really confident that you're going to take this country to a new level.
Meanwhile, in a move to encourage more local listings, the Ghana Stock Exchange is appealing to President Akufo-Addo to reconsider or consider reintroducing some tax incentives for indigenous investors that will be interested in raising equity on the capital market to expand their businesses. According to Managing Director of the Exchange, Eko Afeji, getting Ghanaian businesses on the market will boost its relevance.
But as an exchange, we do have challenges. One of the key ones is how do we get more companies on this market? How do we get Ghanaian entrepreneurs to utilize this market to raise money, to raise long-term funding? We will keep on doing education. We will keep on creating incentives internally for them. But we also need to get the government to look at various policies that can also help and attract some of these companies to also go out there and raise capital on this market. We've tried tax incentives before for a short while. Maybe we can look at it again to see how best that can attract some of the companies to utilize the market. Because this is very important in making the stock exchange become relevant in the development of this economy. If you don't get companies to raise capital where they can expand and then grow and employ more people, then the stock exchange has no relevance. And that is why it's important that we keep on hammering on the fact that we need to get Ghanaian entrepreneurs, Ghanaian companies to raise long-term capital through this market.
And you're watching The Marketplace. Now, a survey conducted by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center on the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on foreign investors in Ghana shows an average revenue loss of $75,000 in the second quarter of this year. Joy Business editor George Rafe is in studio with me to discuss highlights of this survey. George, so what were the parameters considered in this survey and just how significant are the losses?
So the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, you know, often we've all been this cliche about the fact that we've been all impacted badly by COVID-19 and all the rest. Now, what they really wanted to establish is that, okay, we talked about businesses being affected. What is the real situation on the ground? Let's do it. Facts here. So between April and June this year, they engaged about 150 businesses to look at how this COVID-19 has impacted on them. And also, I also want to look at foreign direct investment, actually. Okay. If you want to look at the hard, the hard projects that came in compared to Q1, it slowed. But if you look at the value as well, the value has gone up. So you could say that despite COVID-19, in terms of the real impact on second quarter in value, things weren't that bad for the Ghana Investment Promotion Center and even the country in terms of the value of projects that actually came in. Now, back again to the service. So they engaged these businesses in trying to find out from them how things would actually fare for them, how things actually fared. They looked at the fact that, okay, for instance, what would the influence project coming into this country? What are your concerns, the future of work and all those things? And so these are some of the things that they looked at from April to June this year in engaging about 150 businesses, those who have big firms in this country, those who have brought in capital and all the rest. So that might give us a fair idea in terms of what they sought to look for the second quarter of this year in terms of the impact of COVID-19 on these businesses and FDIs.
So average revenue loss of 75,000 US dollars.
And that's the average. Some even lost more than $1 million.
So my question was, should we be worried? How worried should we be about this?
You should be worried because don't forget when these people also come in, they are bringing in capital, there's going to be job opportunities and all the rest. Also talk about the fact that they are bringing in dollars, and that has an impact on your reserves as well. So if these monies are not coming in, because most of the time the law requires them to actually save it at the Bank of Ghana or certain things, that have great impact on our currency. So if the inflows are not coming in that much, we should be worried in terms of our reserves, building up a strong reserves for our currency and even the economy as a whole. And also a bit about job openings and all the rest, and even about taxes as well. In times when we are having problems with us roping in more revenue for the country, a slowdown in FDIs could have an impact in terms of taxes for the economy as well, Darryl.
So the question is, how do we make up for these losses? Are there any recommendations being made?
Not actually going through the report, but you could also see that at the end of June, the projects were picking up compared to April. So it tells you that investors are more of long-termish. There are some who are convinced that, listen, COVID will be over very soon. So if you're looking at setting up an assembling plant in Ghana, would the COVID-19 affect that? No. So it looks like things have started picking up, and looks like going into the future next year, we might have a strong pickup in the economy. If you go through the World Bank report on the economy, IMF, they're all projecting that things might pick up very good for Ghana. So it looks like they are seeing the COVID-19 as a short-term shock, but things will pick up going into next year.
All right, we'll see how that goes. Thank you very much, George Affe, with that update. So matter is still linked to trade and the GIPC. The Committee of Foreigners in Retail Trade under the Trade Ministry is inspecting GIPC documentation of foreigners trading in Suame Magazine artisanal hub in the Ashanti region. Now, shops of traders who have not complied with the GIPC Act are being locked up, and the committee says it has given, I beg your pardon, the traders time to comply with the directives of the Investment Pact. Prince Appiah has been following the story, joins me with an update. Prince, so how is the exercise going?
So, Darryl, the exercise is really going as planned. The plan by the leadership of the committee is that they started yesterday and they continue to fight. And what they do is that when you get to the shop, they ask you of the documents that they expect you to work with your business registration, and particularly the GIP documentation. And if that is not available, then they ask you to get out of the shop, then the process. Comparing it to what was happening, this has been very peaceful and very calm, and no confrontation has happened so far. And the leadership of the committee, they expect the foreign traders to abide by the GIPC Act, Darryl.
Okay, so how many shops are we talking about, and what has been the reaction of the foreigners over there?
So the numbers might go up by now. As at the time, the Nigerian trade traders say about 21 of their shops had been locked up as at this morning. That's starting from yesterday. And this morning, while we were with the committee, additional shops were locked. Persons who were left to file for other reports. So that is what is happening. And by now, we expect that the numbers might go up because the committee had divided themselves in, and they were covering the whole of the magazine. And the Nigerian traders over there more than 100, I should say. So the expectation is that indeed majority of them are not complying, and most of the shops is locked up.
And interesting, they were given 8 months, I hear, to fix that situation. So what is the challenge really in getting the proper documentation?
So exactly. So the committee, you remember sometime last year, this same committee, together with the Interministerial Committee, came to the Suame Magazine and met leadership of the Nigerian traders and the foreign traders in Suame Magazine about this particular issue when Ghanaian traders were locking up their shops. So from that time to now, the committee tells me that we gave them that space to be able to go through all the proper documentation and ensure they abide by the act. And now, majority of them, according to their staff, have not done that, and that is the difficulty. When we spoke to the leadership of the Nigerian traders who are predominant, who are the majority of the foreign traders at the contract, what they are saying is that majority of them are compliant. They have all the proper documentation, but so they are have been blocked. Another thing they say is that they are finding it very difficult now, Daryl, to renew their permit, their business permit and their residence permit in the country. And that might be a reason that most of their shops have been blocked up. And what they are saying is that anytime they go to the immigration and the relevant agency office renew their permit, if they have asked, they have been given so many excuses, and that is the reason. And they believe that that is not fair. They are not being treated fair. And it's going to affect the trade between Ghana and Nigeria if authorities don't do anything about it.
Thanks very much, Prince Appiah, for bringing us that update. You're watching The Marketplace.